CGTN Radio.
Examining the events that impact and shape China and the rest of the world. This is the Beijing Hour, 1 hour of news and information brought to you every weekday. Now here's your host.
Shane Bigham with you on this Wednesday, March 30th, 2022. You're listening to the Beijing Hour, live from the Chinese capital. On today's program, China's hosting a meeting of foreign ministers from countries neighboring Afghanistan today and tomorrow, looking to build consensus on the Afghan issue. Russian officials say the latest round of peace talks with Ukraine were constructive. Authorities in Shanghai are ensuring supplies of daily necessities amid the latest COVID restrictions in the eastern Chinese city. In business, China's digital platforms are reinforcing supply chains. In sports, the Miami Open is all set for the quarterfinals. In culture and entertainment, Chinese dramas gaining in popularity overseas. Now the day's top stories. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi is hosting the third meeting of foreign ministers of the countries neighboring Afghanistan in Anhui province today and tomorrow. Foreign ministers or representatives of Pakistan, Iran, Russia, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan will attend that meeting. Wang will also chair the Afghanistan's Neighbors Plus Afghanistan Foreign Ministers Dialogue. Acting Foreign Minister of the Afghan interim government, Amir Khan Mutaki, was invited to attend the dialogue. The Chinese Foreign Ministry says that by hosting these meetings, China hopes to build further consensus among Afghanistan's neighboring countries on the Afghan issue. With more on this, Do Hongyu spoke to Wang Jin, Associate Professor at the Institute of Middle Eastern Studies, Northwest University.
Professor Wang, the foreign ministers' meeting of countries neighboring Afghanistan takes place today and tomorrow. How significant is the timing of this meeting?
The timing of the conference is very important. First, after the Afghan Taliban took power in last August, Afghan Taliban and its interim government, I think they gradually realized that it is not easy to handle with internal difficulties, especially it is not easy to push forward the reconstruction process of Afghanistan. So they need urgent international society's assistance and help. Second, we know that the meeting comes after Chinese State Councilor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi's visit to Pakistan, Afghanistan, India, and that might help the neighboring countries to enhance the willingness and to strengthen the cooperation over the Afghanistan issue. And Wang Yi's visit also shared China's idea and China's possession over the Afghanistan issue and could get the understanding and support of the neighboring countries.
Afghanistan is going through a humanitarian crisis exacerbated by the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, the unrest and drought. What can China and other neighboring countries do to help the country deal with the crisis?
First of all, they could provide direct assistance to Afghan people to help, to some extent, to solve the humanitarian crisis. And also, the other neighboring countries could also do the things to help ease the humanitarian situation in Afghanistan. Second, I think they could form more strengthened the international and the regional cooperation mechanism to help Afghan people, because Afghan people and Afghan interim government hopes to go back to the international society, and China and other neighboring countries could play a role in this process and could help and encourage Afghan interim government to go back to the society of the international countries. So this is might be the very positive step.
Meantime, the China-U.S.-Russia Plus consultation on the Afghan issue will be held during the meeting in Anhui. Special Envoy for Afghan Affairs Yue Xiaoyong will chair the meeting. Professor Wang Jin has more on the significance of this meeting.
I think the three countries' mechanism over Afghanistan issue could be very important to help the reconstruction process of Afghanistan. But there were also some challenges, especially we have to know that some countries, especially the United States, they could give more contribution, they could play a more important role in, especially more positively important role in the Afghanistan issue, given that the United States very special relations in Afghanistan. So I think the willingness could prevail and also the cooperation between the three countries, China, Russia, and the United States, could help make Afghanistan a better future. But that depends on more contacts. That depends depends on more cooperation between the three countries, and also that's between maybe in the future the very contact and exchange of ideas between Afghan new interim government and Afghan Taliban with the international society, especially the United States.
That was Wang Jin, Associate Professor at the Institute of Middle Eastern Studies, Northwest University. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi met with visiting Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in Anhui Province ahead of that third meeting of foreign ministers of the countries neighboring Afghanistan. Dong Shui has more.
Chinese State Councilor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi had finished its closed-door meetings with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov before the Ministerial Conference of Afghanistan's labor, which will kick off tomorrow. This is Lavrov's first trip to China and will be his first public in-person appearance at a multilateral event since the Russian-Ukraine crisis. Well, the conflict obviously has triggered some of Moscow's worst confrontations with the West since the Cold War, with a raft of Western sanctions and Russian retaliation threatening the global economy as well as energy and food security. China, however, is among several countries to have repeatedly abstained from the UN resolutions condemning Moscow's actions in Ukraine. Lavrov earlier have defined the relations between China and Russia are at all-time high. At the same time, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi echoed the sentiment at a press conference during China's top political gathering, the two sessions early March, stressing that China's friendship with Russia is rock solid. Well, Ukraine obviously will inevitably be on the top of the agenda for the bilateral meetings, but experts predict that China's position on the crisis will remain the same.
That was Dong Shui reporting in Anhui Province. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi also met his Pakistani counterpart, Shah Mahmood Qureshi, in Anhui. Wang Yi visited Pakistan last week and had talks with Qureshi there, during which the two sides agreed to enhance cooperation in various fields. Pakistan chaired the first meeting of the foreign ministers of Afghanistan's neighboring countries last September, one day after the Taliban announced the formation of an interim government in Kabul. The second meeting was held in Tehran, the capital of Iran, in October. Coming up, Russian and Ukrainian delegations spoke face-to-face for 3 hours about the conflict in Ukraine.
Would you like to receive the latest news updates about China and the rest of the globe? Tune in to the Beijing Hour every weekday for the latest in politics, business, sports, and entertainment from a Chinese perspective. Subscribe to the Beijing Hour for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Don't know what you're messing with. Why in the hell don't you leave it alone?
Who is she?
They look just like you and I, but inside they're different. They have no soul.
Who are you?
They call me the garbage man. I dispose of human garbage.
Why are you telling me all this?
Because you're in danger. There's been a little accident, an escape. They're very real, very dangerous.